Well, we just had our powerlifting meet here. Was it 2 weekends ago, or was it 3 weekends ago?
Two.
It was
2 weekends.
This last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, and I just want to talk about some of the highlights from that because, like I'm sure you understand, especially like how involved you've been with powerlifting the last X amount of years. And, like even before, Matt got us into meet directing, we were doing powerlifting meets ourselves and going to them with, lifters and going to them to watch, other people lift. So it's easy to like not really get burnt out, but it's easy to kind of like back off the gas pedal a little bit and maybe not lose interest, but it's just not as exciting as like the first 5 or 10 you went to. But this meet really did kind of light a fire for me in a different way, and they all generally do.
Mhm.
You kind of agree, right?
Yeah, always.
But I think it was maybe just the teamwork aspect that really fired me up, and then also just seeing how well some of the lifters did, and it seemed like part of the reason they did well is because of the environmental aspect, I felt
Yeah.
like. So that really hyped me up a lot. And then the other thing that, kind of behind the scenes that we were working on is like our own personal teamwork, like with us three, but then also like PLU as a whole and PLU like regionally.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really helped a lot. And you've been obviously a big proponent of that.
Hmm.
But yeah, what did you think about the meet recently? How'd you feel about it?
I think it went really well. And I think I think it's one of those things where like you do it so many times and it kind of just becomes routine and you kind of get, I don't want to say stuck in a rut, but it's,
Monotonous.
yeah. And you kind of forget how to zoom out and see what it could be, I guess, or
Yeah.
like just, what's the word?
Zoom out. That's the best way
zooming
to
out. I
really
think like zooming out and
see it from like a bird's eye perspective.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I'm in a special position because I'm at so many meets and have been working in a lot of meets for a while.
Yeah.
So like I have I have a lot of experience of how different meet directors do things, how different meets flow.
Mhm.
And then just being here for as long as I have, it's easy for me to like imagine how the space can be
Yeah.
better. And it's especially just from a lift. Like I try to always put myself in the lifter's perspective. Like
Yeah.
what is it like from the lifter's
Yeah.
experience and the lifter's view? And I think we're getting to a place where we're getting that to really
Yeah.
like getting that really like honed in and improving that each time. And I think especially this last meet really showed it.
Yeah.
Like it really showed. I think a lot of lifters had a really good time. Lifters who have competed at our meets before had even higher praise to give from their previous experiences. So I
Yeah.
think things like that are always kind of what fires me up.
Yeah.
Even if
Definitely.
it's only like 1 or 2 comments, it's something that's like, okay, it's working, and then they
Yeah.
can kind of like see what's working, see what's not, and just keep picking at it.
Yeah, and we've all done meets or competed at a meet, and where there's none of that, and it's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So it's like definitely having some positive reactions is better than none or negative reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I kind of heard a lot of chatter too, and even after the meet, there was
Yeah.
people reaching out saying, "Hey, when was the next one?" Things like that.
Definitely.
And that's something that you don't get in your first several meets generally.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
as far as what I would assume. But no, the lifter's perspective is a cool one to think about because I think like, and you could attest to this too, like all the preparation, stress, and worry and time and effort that goes into putting an event together. It's easy to get caught up in like, am I getting my checklist done? And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
am I not stressed out about what's going on? And do I think it's going good? And like, are people showing up? And those are like good markers, but they're not the most important markers when it comes to the actual day of the meet and how are people feeling when they're actually there
Yeah.
lifting, and are they able to be put in a position where they can excel and like basically put all their training forward with no obstacles, no things that seem like they're off, or like
Yeah.
we've all done meets where you can kind of tell that like people aren't really into it, and it's like it's a side business thing, or
Yeah.
they're just on a power trip. That's a one I've noticed definitely in the past.
Yeah.
Not really with us, but and I think that's kind of good motivation for us to like lean in the other direction and make it about the lifter, like Taylor was saying.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think one of the big things that put the right foot forward is at the weigh-ins. Me and Taylor, this time I really tried to be really friendly to the new lifters. And I, in the past, I may not have been as friendly, but I was really outgoing and trying to help them. And I think that sets the tone for like new people coming in is before they go into the meet. So they're like, oh, everyone's nice, and then they come here and then everyone talks to each other and it just kind of sets the tone for like a good day. You know what I mean?
I think that's the customer service aspect of everything we do, but particularly meet day and like interacting with a lifter, I think pays dividends. Just like whether it's a small interaction or just their overall experience, like through email communication and things like that, it goes a really long way. And I think again, just going back to lifter being the focus. We all know how intimidating it is to go into a new space or to a new experience, especially like if you're a first time lifter. Like I remember how like clueless and scared I was and intimidated, and people were asking me questions and I was just like, had no idea how to get rack heights and stuff like that. And so many people come in, whether they're experienced or not, and especially weigh-in day, especially if you're cutting weight or something, like your brain's not operating. And I always say like
jacked up as
and like you just got through meet prep and adrenaline, like you're getting excited, like your brain is not functioning.
You may have had pre-meet sickness, which is like 80% of the time.
So you might be your head's all over the place. So I always say like and when I am competing myself, I'm like, I try really hard to just like total tunnel vision, blinders on. All I'm here to do this weekend is lift. And
for sure.
So I try to do whatever I can to offer that to lifters as well. What like just in terms of like, ask a question. If it's stupid, it doesn't matter. Think about like how many times like you've been, like recently I was like stressed out and like in a rush and I was like typing something out and I typed out the word "the" and I was like, that looks like it's spelled wrong. And I had this whole, but it was like this, I think it just goes to show like no matter how much, like you just have days like that where you're just like, my brain just doesn't. So I think too, like as a meet director, if somebody comes up to you and like asks a question you've been asked a million times and you're annoyed about it and you answer as such, lifters are like shit. Like, you gotta have that. You have to have a good like.
That's a good point.
And even like you go to a coffee shop and they're slammed, and how nice is it when they're still nice to you when you go up to the front? It makes you still feel good and make like it those little interactions.
Totally. And the opposite too, where if someone is like rude to you or makes you feel dumb because you asked where a straw was at or something like that, you're like, oh shit, man, like. Maybe I'm messing up, and then you go back to your car and then that could be the next couple of hours where you're like, oh, I'm tripping over stuff. I'm this and that. So it really does set like the tone for everyone, I feel like. And even like Allie and like Allie and the like spotting loading crew that Allie's been putting together. And you've been, I think, also kind of a part of pushing that a little bit. I'm not sure how that actually
I would say it's mostly Allie. I think like a little bit of both of us. Like Allie has done a lot of spotting and loading at like bigger meets and all over the place, and has found such an efficient way to do it with that through that experience. And I think something that we see in other places is like they have a crew of people that like continually come back, and like that's I think something that we could benefit from within the Chicago community. And so I think Allie is just trying to create a team and so you can kind of always spotters are always like one of the hardest things to find when you're running a meet, like, and it's understandably like it is a really hard job, and it seems
absolutely
it's my favorite thing to do to meet personally. Like I think it's just a lot of fun, but
for sure
it is, especially if you've never done before, it's intimidating, and it seems like you're gonna and there is risk involved there, like you could be under somebody's squat that doesn't go well, like things can happen, but
and you have a lot to pay attention to and you have to be sharp all the time, especially when you're tired from loading weights all day different positions that are all taxing in their own way. I think we kind of know that just from training people all day long, especially when people are in meet prep and you're moving kilos versus pounds. It's just more awkward. They're harder to grab. It's just a weirder thing. So
and more brain power. But I think just getting like a strong team together, and Allie has been at meets where, little things that spotters say really help get them through you know, competing in a place in like Vegas where they have no friends out there, things like that, where it's like, and when you're in the moment, and I've competed at meets by myself too, where like you don't have anybody, or maybe you have people, but like it's my mom or something, and she's like, hey,
it's not someone that's
it's not the same that's
actually in there with you and walking around the whole time, and their hands are on your shoulders, and they're just guiding you through the whole day. It's different.
And I think like we all know how important a good vibe on the platform is. And if you can't find it, or if it doesn't already exist, there's no reason not to build it.
True. And there's something to be said too for like the feeling of knowing that the staff that day, or the like referees, or even the people at the table are on your side. They want you to do well. They're not there to just like point out your flaws and mistakes and kind of like, aha, like I'm wearing this shirt with this thing on it, and so like I'm in this position of like authority today to kind of like, you know, so it's nice when all that's flowing, because it's not like, you know, when we're judging someone lifting that we're cheerleading them, or like, you know, giving them cues as they're walking up or something like that, but they can feel it, and I can feel it when all that is going on, and there's a certain positivity there where it's like they know I want them to do well, and everyone else wants them to do well. We just so happen to be here to keep the standard for everyone, but the vibe's good, and you know, like even the table's cheering for them, like when they make a lift. You know, it's not like 100% of the time, but it's awesome when that's kind of going on in like third attempts or deadlifts or whatever it is.
It also helps a lot too.
I think it's something I don't, and I can't speak for all powerlifting altogether, but I would say especially within at least the refs that I bring together and try to have around, like I view it as less of an authority position and more of like a support position. And yes, part of that is upholding the standard, but then another part of it is like and in that, I'm like, when I am upholding the standard, I am then being of support of the lifter and the sport, and less of the like, let me show you what I know. And it's like, easy. No, like that's not at all. And I always go back to the, you know, we're taught, it's ingrained in us, or it should be ingrained in us when we start reffing, of like, if there's a shadow of doubt, you give it to the lifter. So in my opinion, I'm like, your lift is white. Like your lift is good until you show me it shouldn't be. And I'm not hoping for that. I'm not waiting for you to show me that. Like your lift is good until you give me a reason it shouldn't be. And if I give you a red, I mean it with my chest, and I can defend it, and I can point to it. And I think, and doing that, it upholds the standard of the sport, which is the whole point of doing this. The whole point, because otherwise, you know, everything just dissolves into.
And I was going to say, it's so easy to, you know, address someone and have a smile on your face and talk about it like you actually care, you know, and you're just trying to actually explain so that things can be improved, you know, like it's like you said, a supportive thing versus like, you know, you did this, and then like there's no explanation. There's no way to potentially fix it. I mean, it's not like we have all the time in the world to sit there and give someone a dissertation about how they're going to fix it for them, but it really helps to give them 5 seconds information of how they may be able to actually do that, versus being like, you lock your knees out, like whatever, you know, and then they're going to go do the same thing again. You red light them again. It's like, I don't know, that might not be a great experience. So it's like,
it's also like the presentation and the way you like say it to them too. You know, because it's like, if you're just like, have a resting bitch face and you give them just soft knees instead of explaining to them what happened, and you smile, it goes a long way. You know what I mean?
Like snapping that, like that's like, and there is a certain degree of like, we do have time, and it should get sense too. It gets, there's a certain amount of like, and then there's also like, I can't sit there and be like, you were 2 inches high. If you open up your hips, you drop lower. You know, like it's nothing like that. But it's just like, if you're like, oh, like, you know, you were high, or my red was because you were soft or whatever. Like it's a. But then it's also one of those things where I always tell lifters in the rules meeting, like, to ask immediately, like, what that was, because you might, especially if you're a newer lifter, or if you're somebody like myself who, like, I train alone often. So, like, I don't always have a ton of feedback around me, and video angles can only do so much.
Your feedback might be at the meet.
So I might get depth feedback at the meet, and that might be hard for me to hear. It might be humbling, but it might be what I need on my first attempt. So then I know, and I have to engage for my second attempt. And it doesn't mean that everything is for nothing. And even then, like, I've bombed out of a meet. So I've learned hard lessons competing. So like it sucks, but then you understand, you figure out what went wrong, you figure out how to fix it, and you hopefully never have that problem again. And that's the whole point. And that's why, I mean, like in being, upholding the standard is then in the support of the lifter, like it helps.
Yeah.
And when you think about it too, I'm like, that's for the health of the body. If you're not squatting, if you're quarter squatting, like that's rough on your, long term. So it's like at the end, like you should be squatting to death. you know? Like it is better for all of us in the long run.
Like to get you past meet day and just like into continuing to be able to do
this. And be able to like walk up the stairs when you're 80 and
Me and that are the kings of longevity, dude.
Yeah.
For real.
As I go to my third jiu-jitsu class this week and I lifted 3 times.
That's why we do it.
Yeah.
Your dad is going to compete soon, right?
Yeah.
Is that true? I thought I saw something online about that.
Yeah, so my dad's competing at Surge. I think it's May 23rd, May 22nd, May 23rd.
Oh, so it's coming up soon.
Yeah, coming up soon. He's a few weeks out. He's getting there. He's really excited. It's cool. He's it's his first powerlifting meet. He's been an athlete forever, so he's not new to competition or you know what it takes to compete. But it's newer. He's newer to competitive powerlifting.
Yeah,
so
it's a different realm.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Like, was that his idea?
It was his idea,
okay.
And I don't know. I think he's somebody who like is always just looking for a new challenge and something different to like keep going. And I think, especially, he's been in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu for my whole life. So from as long as I can remember. So that's over 31 years at this point.
Yeah,
and so it's like I get it. Where like, you know, I take a tumbling class once a week because I need a break from powerlifting. I need to move my body in a way that's not what I've been doing for 10 years, you know.
Feels nice, right?
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting challenge. And like I think about it too, I'm like, it would be fun to maybe try competing in different arenas eventually someday. I don't have any ambitions of that right now, but I imagine, especially when I'm, you know, my dad's age in his 50s, like he's wants a new challenge. He wants something different, and I think it is really cool. Like he's retired, he has a different phase of life now, so he can. I say that as if he's slowing down, but like he wrote a book, he teaches all that. Like he's always going, he's always doing something, and I think that's really cool. Especially when you're somebody like him who's fortunate to retire kind of younger, and
for sure.
You still have, you know, you retire around 50, you still have 20, 30 years, hopefully, to live your life. And so I think he's really embracing that. And so I think that's part of it. It's just a new challenge and something different to do. And then I think, too, just to hang out with me a little bit, too, which I don't.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge,
awesome.
which is pretty cool.
Are you're handling him?
I'll be handling him and helping out.
Are you helping with that meet at all?
I'll be roughing at that meet too, but I will be handling him. So my coach Dustin is coaching my dad.
Cool.
Initially, I was gonna try to program my dad, but as long as I've been doing this, I'm like, I don't really understand how to program too much. And he was starting to ask me questions, and I was already texting Dustin like, "What do I say to this?" So I was like, why don't you just go to the source?
Yeah.
But we still, you know, he still sends videos. We still check in, and I guess
cool.
So I'll be handling him and helping out that day.
Cool.
It should be really cool.
That's
and
rad.
He's, you know, as you guys know, in jiu-jitsu, you get a small arsenal of injuries over the years. So, and I've seen, I've witnessed so many of those. Of my dad. So that's one of my favorite things is just watching him continually like come back and push and. Somebody who can blow their knee out 12 times can still hit depth in his 50s, I think. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think there's like something to be said for jiu-jitsu is kind of funny in the sense that like I have people ask me pretty regularly like and they're being serious. It's not like a loaded question, but like, do you think that powerlifting and jiu-jitsu mesh well together? And I'm always like, wow, no. And then they'll kind of look at me like, like confused because I think they're expecting in their head, I think they're thinking like, oh, well, it's like one form of being athletic and then another one, and they must do something. And I'm like, I mean, they can help, but the one cool thing that jiu-jitsu does for lifting and like life too is that it kind of just prepares you to deal with like anything that possibly comes forward in your life because it's so inconvenient and it's so a lot of times unrewarding to you. Yeah. That like hearing about your dad having, several knee issues and then still squatting is like the first thing I think about is his brain. That's the first thing I think about. I'm sure he had to do rehab and PT and all this, who knows what surgery. I don't know.
He's had surgery on one of them. I don't know. I think he's had issues with both of them at this point. But I know for sure he's had surgery on one of them.
He probably gets confused about like
which damage is on
which knee. Which knee is which knee.
Yeah, now they do,
you always know.
The
I always know which the problem is.
But no, I think that's very cool, and it makes sense that your dad would do something like that. You know, knowing how long he's trained jiu-jitsu, and like, you know, your dad, like, you know, he's a good-looking dude, but he looks like his head is just a brick. You know, he's a tough weathered, like, and I mean that in a very respectful way, but like human being. You know, like he's not a fragile person.
No,
so.
not at all. He's the opposite, and I think the cool thing is, and especially something that I think is reflective of that, and him competing in powerlifting for the first time now, is like it's not his strength. It's not a rigid, like stiff, hard strength. It's definitely it's resilient, it's flexible, and adaptive. And I think, like you said, a lot of that comes from even just while you're in the like actively in jiu-jitsu, you're always thinking of like 8 moves ahead, and you rarely know exactly what somebody else.
Part of it.
Yeah, and
Can you go into that a little bit more, because I kind of know what you mean, but I'm not entirely sure. I just want to.
Yeah, so one thing especially, I think you see it a little bit more, and I'm not the most seasoned jiu-jitsu person. I've done it off and on in my life. I'm not very good at it either, and I also, because it's not very conducive to powerlifting, where my focus is, that I work with my body too. So like I have to pick and choose what I'm going to beat up my joints on, and
totally.
Yeah, but I have to pick and choose where I can.
No, I got you.
But I think something with jiu-jitsu that you don't always get in other I really don't think you get it as much in powerlifting at all, but you can't like I might get you in a position and I might think I'm solid and I think I might know my next move, and then you could pull something totally different, and then I'm on my back and I have to change my whole perspective. My whole plan is totally out the window. Or if it's still within the realm of reason, I have to think 8 steps ahead, and how do I get to that step now? You know, I think it really forces you to, and especially if you're somebody who's good and wants to win and is a fighter, like you are always pivoting, you're always thinking, you're always like, so I think that's, my dad's brain definitely works like that.
Notice that with his lifting, or does like Dustin notice anything like that with his lifting? I mean, he's a newer lifter in the powerlifting sense, but I imagine that he's able to apply some of those skills to that, because I feel like it'd be so hard not to.
I think so, and I think kind of getting back to like beat up bodies, like he is having to like, you know, like, even just little things of like, you know, potentially switching to Talon grip or wearing heels for lifting. So like there's adaptations in little ways to make it more beneficial to him. And I think too, it'll play out a little bit more like meet day, of like how the lifts go. And I think adaptability shows more when you're actively competing, a little bit more so than just in regular training, because
that makes sense.
And there are also days, and I think part of, and I think, I'm sure we've all been there, like my dad's been lifting for years, so like he's always strength trained in some capacity, so he's always been big and strong.
Someone that like does lift. Even when I met him, I don't know however many years ago, like you can tell with his structure that A, he does jiu-jitsu, but B, the guy lifts. And you can tell just by looking at a person, their density, their dexterity, the way they carry themselves, posture, you know. So I mean, I had no doubt. I've never even asked you or your dad that, but I already knew that your dad had been lifting for some time.
He's lifted, and you know, he and my uncle are part of the reason I got into lifting in the first place, just a whole other story. But I think, you know, back in the day, he was a lot stronger back 20 years ago when he first started, like, you know, like was hanging around with powerlifters, and that it's no shade to him by any means. And I look at aging as a privilege. So I'm like, he's had the privilege to age and get this far in life and still be active, which is really cool. And he's had a number of things that could have knocked him out permanently. But I think I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you were just talking about like your dad hanging around powerlifters.
Oh, so back in the day, like he was lifting a lot of weight, so coming back in and he's, you know, squatting around 300 instead of like 500-600. It can it can be a hit mentally. And I think we've all had that issue where you come back after a while, or you just like, last week I just had a bad day and I just wasn't lifting well, and it took a second for me to like self-coach for a second to be like, okay, no, like it's okay. Like,
we've all started over with the bar.
A
couple of times.
Matt particularly.
Yeah. For sure. I'm still in a 3 out of 10, so I'm slowly going. But it's good.
No, that's cool. And so like with your dad, does he seem a little more open-minded to like making changes on the fly?
Oh yeah,
or,
definitely.
like,
he's very coachable. He's very like, he just wants to improve. So if you
Yeah.
tell him something that could make him better, he's going to try it at
Yeah.
least once. And I think part of that, like, he just takes bits and pieces of what
Yeah.
works. And if I give him advice on something, he'll take it, try it. So he's very,
Yeah.
and again, back to being like flexible and adaptable. Like he will take feedback, and I think
Yeah.
that is the sign of a mature athlete.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Somebody who has been somebody who is emotionally
Yeah.
mature, and somebody who is mentally strong
Yeah,
in
yeah.
sport, to be able to be a beginner and to take feedback and
Yeah.
to actually listen and not just like, because
Yeah.
so many people, we all are guilty of it a little bit,
yeah,
I think,
sure.
but
We have our moments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think doing jujitsu that long, it's like even as a black belt like your father is, I mean, you can't do it that long and get that far without being an excellent student.
yeah,
And I'm sure your dad would agree with that, and I'm sure your dad probably, in some regards, views himself as a student.
oh,
He's been
definitely,
training for 3+ decades,
yeah,
and that's kind of the beauty of it. And I think that's like, I don't know, in my opinion, a lot of times I view myself as a student in life because of jiu-jitsu.
yeah,
The weightlifting room also, like that, I mean, is probably my like 80% of my foundation of being a student, and my view on life is from the weight room.
yeah,
But jiu-jitsu has really added on to that and like made it a lot more, concrete, I guess. And so I'm sure your dad is just kind of like in that state of mind already,
yeah,
be a little bit more coachable and change things to improve his game before he competes. And you mentioned that he was kind of hanging out with powerlifters or like lifters, or maybe he technically was maybe a powerlifter without competing before or something like that. Sounds like some of
yeah,
his lifts are pretty hefty. Um, do you know, like, if your dad was lifting for jiu-jitsu back then, or had he already been lifting and then jiu-jitsu came along? Because like I know a long time ago, like pre-internet and maybe even 2000s, like lifting and jiu-jitsu and like lifting and MMA was like kind of a partnership
yeah,
for a long time. Not with everyone, but it was a thing, and then eventually jiu-jitsu kind of got off onto its own thing where it wasn't really popular for a long time for people who did jiu-jitsu to lift,
yeah,
or like Thai boxing or whatever it may be. And now fast forward to 26, it's like a lot of the best people in the world, like they kind of look like a bodybuilder in their off season,
yeah,
or like a physique competitor in their off season, and they lift, and you see them posting lifting videos, and they kind of go hand in hand. You see lifters and uh, MMA athletes hanging out all the time,
yeah.
doing social media together and stuff like that. So did that have anything to do with that back in the day for your dad? Do you know,
I don't
or
know for sure where the connection came in, or like what.
sounds badass. Your dad's just like this jujitsu, like, like just freak, and also freakishly strong, hanging out with powerlifters. It kind of sounds like a West Side Barbell like
Yeah,
documentary.
it kind of does. And the place that he was
sure.
singing out was called Frank's House of Steel in
Oh
Elgin
yeah,
back in the day. And
yeah.
from what I understand,
Where
it
is
had
this at?
in Elgin.
Okay, cool.
I think it
That's a great
had,
name.
I
yeah,
want to
doesn't
live
it?
there.
I know.
Seriously, bring
It's
back Frank.
bring
Yeah.
back Frank. It's defunct now, from what I understand, but I don't know exactly what came first. He's always been like fit in some capacity, so I don't know if he just started strength training to like.
Yeah.
But he also, yeah, I think I don't know what came first, and I don't know, like, what
We'll have to
inspired
find out.
him to. Yeah, well, that's a good question for
I'm gonna
him.
ask
Yeah, I'll have to ask him,
him.
see what he says, because I think
Yeah,
it would be a.
I want to know the lore. I
Yeah,
want
oh,
to know.
he
I
has
want
has so much lore. He has a ton of lore,
no
and
shortage
he's a
of lore with
yapper
that
too, so
man.
you guys could
Bring
probably
it.
get going. But, yeah, I don't know what came first, but my uncle, my dad's brother.
Yeah, you mentioned that he kind of got you into lifting too,
Yeah,
right?
so they both have been lifters for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
My uncle has done a couple strongman shows and things like that. So he's always been. He introduced me to the world of, like, when I first started lifting just for strength. He was like, "Yeah, have you ever heard of like powerlifting?" And like,
Mm,
so we kind of like planted. I didn't even
that's
know that
cool.
like strength sports was really a thing,
Yeah.
and I thought it was definitely didn't,
How
especially
old
because
were
he
you
was.
when you first started lifting, and he was kind of like gently urging you to?
I was like I think I was 19,
Okay.
like 19, 20. And it was definitely something where I was like, I immediately got obsessed with it and was all over. At the time, social media was much more limited and powerlifting was much smaller.
Yeah.
But so it was harder to get plugged in. But that was around the time that like Steffi Cohen was coming up, and other people. So it was like
good timing.
It was
like,
good timing. Where I saw her do some crazy stuff right when I was getting started, and I was like, that
was a really nice, like, great time period in lifting. Like, I think about that regularly.
Yeah, it was.
That 3 to 5, probably 5-year time period was pretty excellent.
That was like 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Yeah,
and I remember seeing like Jen Thompson benching 300, just stuff like that. Like back in the day when there just weren't a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
There was not a lot of representation of women. Women have always been in the sport and always been a big part of it, but the representation just wasn't there. So it was cool to see those lifters at that time. And it took me a couple of years to actually find, like, it was just one of those things where it's like, this is just going to be a niche hobby that I'm super into. I'm going to lift at the gym, and I think I would, if you could go back to that time and tell me I'd be where I am now with it, I would have like laughed at you. Thought it was like totally not at all in the cards.
That's
but
kind of how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you look back on it and you're like, man, I didn't see that coming. I thought I was dabbling. I thought it was just kind of.
Just thought it was something I thought was going to be cool, and now it's like my whole life. But it stresses me out. I've lost
for
hair.
better or worse, right?
But yeah, it's so I would say around then, and so they both lifted. They both like being strong. We're sturdy. We're sturdy breeds, so I think that, and we're prone to it anyways. So
made me laugh because like I think we left open mat here last night at like, I don't know, maybe 7:30 or something like that. And then when I walked back in this morning, it was like almost 7:38. Matt's like, "How's it going?" And I was like, "Holy shit!" But we're all happy to be doing what we're doing. It just can take a lot out of you, but you wouldn't want to do anything else, And you were kind of mentioning, like, kind of getting into it, because like your uncle and your dad, and then now what you're doing today, and like you're the chair of Illinois, right? And so I wanted to like reflect on that a little bit, and because how long has that been? A couple of years now. Has it been 2 years or
3
more? It's been a bit, right?
I think like 2.5,
something like that.
Yeah, I think
it's been several years.
I think this might be the third year.
Yeah.
Second.
But I just wanted to reflect on that a little bit, because it's a really tough job, or can be a really tough job.
Yeah.
And I think I think me and Matt can both agree that you're doing a really great job.
Yes.
And it's very enjoyable to have someone be invested into the role as much as you are, traveling all the time, showing up for other people's meets, directing meets, helping lifters out, like coordinating with your own coach on meets. Like it's just a full circle thing. And it, like I said earlier, this stuff can be really exhausting, and seeing someone like you doing what you're doing makes it a lot easier to keep it going.
Yes, it
turns
does.
the marathon into like, I can see myself getting farther down the road. I'm not at the finish line with this. Not that I ever was, but it's reinvigorating to me. And so I just wanted to like look back a little bit on what made you want to actually do that, because we all know that it can be a not fun thing, and it stresses people out, and people have a hard time juggling it. That's just the reality of it, right? So I wanted to look back a little bit on what made you want to do it, what things that you've learned along the way, and like kind of what your thoughts are now that you're several years into the role and you're not new at it anymore. And I've just never had a chance to ask you that, and I'm sure there's a lot of people around you that are curious about that too.
Yeah. Do you mean specifically like why I chose to get into state chairs, like just back end stuff in general?
Maybe the progression from becoming a ref to the state chair to like old federations and where we are now, like all that stuff.
Yeah,
we want to go there later.
Yeah, let's start with just like what made you want to be a judge, and then what made you want to getting into being state chair.
So I refed for like a charity meet, and then somebody like helping with that event was like, who was a ref as well, was kind of like asked me if I'd ever consider it, and I was like, at first I thought it was going to be like a huge undertaking or something like that, and they're like, yeah, you just take a test and take a practical, and it's a very simple process.
It seems overwhelming, right?
It seems overwhelming, or it seems really daunting, or it's really a pretty simple process. And so I was just like, yeah, why not? And so
Yeah.
I got into it kind of just from a why not perspective, but it was also something
That's a
I
good
was like, I'm
reason. I mean,
actually,
you know,
yeah. And I think it was one of those things where I'm like, I could picture myself being good at that. I'm very, I don't know. I'm pretty good under pressure usually. I can stay pretty calm.
mhm.
I can be I try to be unbiased, like it was all those things where like I
Yeah.
think I
I think
have
that's
the
a good attribute
qualities.
that you have.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've seen that in other parts of life too.
Yeah.
When you know someone for X amount of years, you notice, like, does that person like getting caught up in stuff? Does that
Yeah.
person like focusing on what's important
Yeah.
in the long term, things like that? And I noticed that with you in powerlifting too.
Yeah. And I think comes down to like I love powerlifting as corny as it sounds, but it's been such an important part of my life. And it sounds corny, but in a lot of ways it has saved my life. And it's given me purpose, it's given me
Yeah.
Me
community and
too.
belonging and drive, and especially at a point in my life when I really needed it. And I think it was also something where I was like, I think the sport is really, really cool. And
Yeah.
I do hair for a living. I've been in some kind of customer service role since I was 15.
Yeah.
And so coming into with all of that knowledge and then coming into how meets used to run, I was just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
why are we here till 9 p.m.? Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is just
No
not
more of that.
efficient, and just
No
things
more
like
of
that
that.
where I
I
was
will
just like,
never ever do that again.
no, and nobody
No.
wants that, but there were just so many things like that, and more than anything, it was like when I started reffing, I started saying things where I'm like, I think this could be better,
Yeah.
and I don't. I'm not always good at communicating my ideas out loud or communicating my thoughts out loud.
Yeah.
So there were things where I was like, well, I can do this. So, like I just started kind of picking up little things, and um, I feel fortunate that I kind of like opened my world a little bit networking wise, and was
Yeah.
able to start working in other areas and communities and different groups of refs, different parts of the country. So I really got to see how people were doing things
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how, 3-4 years ago we weren't really stacking up
Mhm.
next as a state, I would
Mhm.
say, and compared to like how well other states were doing. And it was one
Yeah.
of those things I've said it before and I'll say it again, like there's no reason we can't be great.
Yeah.
We have everything at our disposal,
Mhm.
and it's just a matter of like buckling down and seeing like what's going to work, how, like, where can we improve, what's reasonable to improve, what's
Yeah.
reasonable to change. And it's been a few years of just like little adjustments here and there. My involvement with the sport, I would say in general, like I just started noticing what needed done.
Mhm.
And instead of asking for permission, I just started doing it, and no one's told me to stop. So that's pretty much
That's great.
Yeah.
how we've gotten here. It started with, as I was roughing and spotting and loading crew, like if they would slow down and needed help with the face savers or rack heights, and I was just sitting, and
Yeah.
I'd just be roughing, I'd just be sitting there. I'm like, okay, this is taking a minute and a half to change
Yeah.
weight. This
Yeah.
is ridiculous. So I would just go in and like do it for him, and
Yeah.
not by no means of like I can do it better than you or you're not doing it good enough. It's never been from that
Sure.
perspective,
Yeah.
but from a perspective of like, let me help you. Like
Yeah.
we can do this better. Let
Mhm.
me help you. And kind of I'm just always trying to make things better. I always
Yeah.
want to leave it better than I found it.
Yeah.
I want each thing I touch every time to get better each time.
Yeah.
Like I operate from like the never good enough standpoint, but I don't have like a negative outlook on it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like I have very much like this was great, let's take notes away, but like
Yeah.
it's never going to be perfect. So and from that
Yeah.
perspective of like it's never going to be done, so I'm never going to sit back and be like, yeah, nothing to work on.
Yeah.
Like I always want something to work towards.
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep things rolling so we don't get stagnant.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. And it's easy to do that, especially as time goes on, and you kind of have a system and a routine,
Yeah.
and it does work. So in your head, you're sort of like, yeah, this is good to go. And then
Yeah.
you don't realize that there's so many little openings and power leaks that, you could like adjust along the way.
Yeah.
And Matt kind of brought it up earlier, with different federations, right? So on one hand, it's kind of a compliment to us and like our group, and even like, like outside of Rockwell, the other people that have been involved in other federations for a long time, we've all kind of like mostly stuck together through different federations.
Yeah.
I would say for like the love of the sport and for just the love of what we actually do. And there's like camaraderie between us as a group because we've all worked so hard to create this and like with the things that you're actually talking about. And I think that at the end of the day, whether we've said it out loud or not, we don't want to lose those things by just splitting ways and we all go our own direction, and it just makes the sport worse. And we know that that's an issue with the sport in the first place is that there's 50 federations, and it's always been a thing. It'll probably always be a thing, but for the ones that really want to do a good job, if the more we stick together, it's like a good way of combating that. You know? And Matt kind of brought it up before we got together today, and he was like, kind of wanted to talk about the difference of our current Fed versus previous federations, you know, and we don't necessarily have to get into like the specifics of a federation, but what are some of the key differences that you notice or that you aspire to have for the PLU compared to some of the other federations that we've either been a part of or lifted in as lifters, or, you know, went to other people's meets and had an experience with that federation?
Yeah. I think, like you said, it's always about the people that you're working with. And I think my favorite thing about PLU is like the people that I work with. And that's the reason that I keep that I've left federation. Like a lot of the reason that there were a couple of reasons I left one federation, but a lot of the reason that I've stuck with the same group is because I'm inspired by the people and enjoy working with them. And from what I've heard from other people in other federations, you don't always get that everywhere. And I don't know exactly where that comes from. I don't know if it's just I'm sure it's just what we feed into it, because it's always you know, grass is green where you water it. But so I think that part of it is that, but another part of it is a federation of, you know, we allow untested lifters, we allow tested lifters, we have a gender neutral category, we have all kinds of equipment you can wear, we have like all these different things. You can do squat only, you can do bench only, you can do there's a lot of options within it. And I think and we use a squat bar, you can do a mono lift, you can do a combo rack. There's a lot of different options. And in that there's a place for every lifter, and that's something that I really appreciate, and you can't find that with every federation. I really appreciate and I would not work for or work with a federation that didn't create space or find ways to create space to allow everybody on the platform. And I think that is one of my favorite things. And I think that kind of mentality, I'm not the only one that thinks that, you know, and I
totally.
think that then that mentality is reflected everywhere. Because then again, when you go back to treating the lifter as the focus of the meet,
that's a good point.
It's then, you know, meeting them where they are and serving them with what they have, and what it's not are you good enough to be on our platform? It's not you know, do you fit X, Y, and Z parameters? And it's, you know, the untested side of powerlifting is really fun, and I don't want to miss out on that. So I like the option of both. There's just a lot of flexibility within it. There's a lot of but it always boils down to, and I think the other cool thing is that the leader, a lot of the people running the federation are active lifter. Like they're actively competed within the last couple of years. And
that's true.
That is something that I don't think every federation can say, but because of that it also then goes back to like, we know what it's like to be at a meet. We know what it's like to compete. We know what it's like to be on the platform. So it helps us make that a little bit better for them. And I appreciate that. And it's really about the people that I trust and that I feel good about working with. There's so many good, and we have nationals coming up, and I'm excited about it. And I know I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to come home beat the shit. You know, it's going to be long days, but I'm excited because I get to see a bunch of people that I don't get to see that often. And that's a really cool part about the sport and the federation altogether, is like it is a group of people that I really enjoy being around. Just strength athletes in general.
Some of my favorite people. 16th, right?
Yes.
In San Antonio.
San Antonio.
I'm going there, so I should know that. Like,
I know. I'm like, I know when I'm flying out. I leave the 14th. I get back the 18th. So it's somewhere in there. But
you brought up two things that I thought were interesting that I wanted to mention. And the one thing was about like the untested section of powerlifting, right? And, I'm a natty guy, I guess, for
Yeah,
the
me
most
too.
part.
Yeah.
So like I say that with I say
Me.
Matt's grinning.
I'll tell you the fun parts of untested
yeah.
powerlifting.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's just fun to watch from the outside.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of what I was gonna say too.
Bring the heat. It brings the heat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, like the sports got far more popular, right?
Yeah.
In the last, I don't know, decade or whatever, whatever you want to say, maybe 8 years especially. But like one of the downsides of that is that I feel like in some ways the misfit part of powerlifting has kind of gone away to a degree, right? And I'm not one of those people who like thinks like everything should stay the same forever. It used to be that way and now it has to be that way from here forward. I'm not one of those people, but I do like the element of the misfits, that attitude and that sort of like that oddity aspect when you show up to a meet and there's that like your jaw's on the floor and like you're watching a spectacle of not just what the people are lifting, but their personalities. Like you feel like you're at a professional wrestling event.
Yeah.
And it's a little, I'm not going to say unsafe, but it's unnerving, like you just
it is unsafe sometimes.
Yeah.
It's there are injuries, and they
that's true. I meant for like the audience,
disproportionately
but
happen to untested lifters.
But yeah, you're right. It can be very unsafe, and it is unsafe. But there's that feeling of being like, it's like, and there's certain shows that we go to, right? And I've been going to shows for a long time, but I'd be lying if I said that, like when I go to certain shows, there's a small part of me that's like, man, this is sketchy, dude. Like this is just got to keep an eye out, I'm really happy to see these bands, but like, I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't want someone's going to fly into my head any minute.
I don't know.
Watch those feet flying.
Yeah, and I like that. And so like the way I view the untested aspect of the sport right now is that, and the reason I support it so much and being a person that doesn't actually participate currently with those things is because of that part. And I never want to lose that. And I think that is part of our like anchor to our history to a degree. Yeah. And then obviously the natty people can still borrow those personality traits and like that environmental aspect of it and all that. It's like, and I do actively, you can attest to that.
You do, yeah.
But and that's why I love that so much. And that's why I would never want to completely be like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to be in a federation that allows that. Like to me, it's ingrained in us. It's a part of powerlifting. Yeah. Even if we don't do it. And obviously there's meets that, people aren't going to do it, but I really love it, and then the other thing that I was going to bring up too is like, as far as like giving people opportunities to lift, like no matter what their backstory is, who they are. I think the biggest thing that I've always kind of boiled down to that with is like the person who's in charge of the meet or the person who's in charge of the federation has to actually care enough to want to try to figure that out for that person. Yeah. It's always been the thing that I've never understood. And we don't have to get too deep into that, but like I've never understood what the feedback was, like what the friction was or the difficulty, and I really feel like it kind of boils down to the person being like, I don't care about this, or I don't like this, therefore we're not doing this. And the epiphany that I had when you were talking about like these meets are for the lifters, it kind of goes back to that same mantra where it's like, this is for the lifter, dude. Yeah. Like you happen to be running this thing or you're in charge of it or whatever that day, or you're in charge of the federation. But at the end of the day, the lifter wants to lift with your organization or with your meet. And it's your responsibility to try to figure something out. And if you can't figure it out, at the very minimum, you could at least say, hey, I care about this. We're going to look into this. Yeah. Try to figure out a way to make this work. I just feel like that's such like a low level human being thing to want to do for people. I mean, I know you have strong opinions about that,
that goes back. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And I think that there's a giant divide between federations, drug tested, untested, whatever. Because of that, because of the leadership down. Yeah. Because they don't want to do better for the lifter. They want to make sure that it has to be this way, this way, this way.
Like number one, even.
Yeah, it's black and white, black and white, black and white. And like, I feel like with PLU, it's a lot more gray area, and that makes it more welcoming to people, I think. Yeah. Like of all backgrounds. Yep. Yeah. And I think that's like the future of the sport, because there is so many different different things you can do, like tested, untested, squat only, push pull, and then you go to some federations are just like male, female. I mean, I'm not going to name federations, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's kind of what
it's
I'm
just very
alluding to.
rigid.
Like, we don't have to go, to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting to is like, it's not that hard to just want to try to figure something out.
Yes, exactly.
Or the most important thing is say, hey, to me, it's more important that you just show up. Just make sure you show up that day. Make sure you lift that day. We're all going to have fun. We'll get into the nitty gritty of it, like down the road.
Yeah.
But you need to be here that day. I mean, just saying that to a person goes a long way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and we do that here at the gym.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
Like, we're just like, show up, dude, figure it out. Like, we're all.
Yeah, like we want you
we're all here doing the same thing.
And it's one of those things where, like I say, like powerlifting, I love it so much. I'm like, I want everyone to do it. I want everyone in it. And if you want to be a part of it, I'm going to do what I can to get you a part of it. And that, I think, like, back to the federation, like things like that. I'm like, with PLU, something that I really appreciate is that when I have a concern about something, when I have a question, even if I'm not going to get the answer I want, even if my opinion isn't going to change anything, they will at least hear me and let me and at least have a conversation about it. The feedback forms we send out after meets, like we read those, we really do, and we have a whole dashboard of feedback. Who's getting scored on what, and it's something that, like, we really, really, like, the core people of PLU, like, we really care about improving this. We want your feedback. We want to hear, and I think I haven't been with any other federation in so long that I can't speak to how they're doing it, but it's something that, like, I know personally that, like, it's cared about, it's seen, it's heard. Whether or not something can be fixed right now, whether or not there is a feasible solution, but at least it's not just going to fall on deaf ears. And that's something that I appreciate or be ignored because that's something that I've experienced
most of the time.
Yeah. And, like, I've experienced that with other federations when I've raised concerns about things and just gone unheard or ignored or totally dismissed,
I was
altogether.
Say, you feel like you can't even actually go to anyone to address anything.
And that doesn't make you feel good,
No, and, like, we invest so much. I don't think people realize, like, the position of state chair is purely volunteer. The position, meet directors are independent contractors. Like, we're not, like, employees. We're not working for them. We're not really getting anything. That we're getting a lot from them in terms of, like, what the federation supports for the meet stuff with the rule book and insurance and all of those things. But it's not like they're coming out to, like, it's still on us. And so. And we're still, essentially giving them money. So it does, like, what we hear and feel and see and experience matters. And for them to listen and take it seriously is important, especially with how much money we give them.
It's in their best interest to, like, see what's going on because most of the time there's no way that you can be. The hell is that?
I have no idea.
That was wild. All right.
The ghost.
Yeah.
The ghost. But one really quick note on untested powerlifting before I also am a lifelong natty. I've never taken anything. I don't think I ever will. I'm way too scared of the side effects.
Do peptides count? Peptides natty, not natty?
I don't know.
I would say they don't count.
I think
they don't count.
It depends on who you talk to.
I guess it's if you were going to compete and drug tested the next day, would that come up on a drug test?
I don't think it would.
I don't think it would, but I think I don't know. I'll have to get a real answer and look into it.
I'm putting the hard questions down. I'm like, Taylor, I need to know as state chair.
I don't know. I'm not going to give any answers. I don't know. But I don't know. I've always been cool with steroids. Like, I don't, even as a lifelong natty, and, like, it's, friends might have given me shit where they're like, why do I care about it? Or why do I? And some people really do see taking PEDs as some kind of, like, moral thing. And like, that is not really it for me. I'm not on some.
Like, if they do it, they're morally wrong.
Or they're cheating or something. Just people with their, like, ill-informed ideas of what steroids do.
There's a lot of, like Matt said earlier, there's a lot of gray area with it, But sorry, go ahead.
But I think all of that to say, I'm like, something that I am passionate about and that I care about and that I want to stick with untested powerlifting before is that I think untested powerlifting gets a bad rep for like shitty lifts, bad standards, things like that. Like, and that's not true. There are so many, I mean, maybe in some places, yes, but it's not a fact. It's not an overall true thing. And also untested powerlifting is also not dead. Like we do have it's never going to go away. It's a fundamental part of the sport. It's never going to go away. People are always going to want to use steroids, whether it's popular or not.
It doesn't matter if it's baseball or freaking.
Yeah, like people are going to use it, and I think
like Olympics.
Yeah, people use it, and whether it's labeled as it or not. But I think so to respect, like there is no escaping it, and I think it's great that people can just use it and be honest about it and not lie about it. That's all. The only time I ever care about it is if somebody uses it and isn't honest about it. Which that's all my conversation. But like untested, there are really good lifters in untested powerlifting. There's a lot of
for sure
fun stuff happening in untested powerlifting. They deserve good platforms too. They deserve good meets too. They deserve just as much as an untested lifter does, in my opinion. And I don't I think it's
as any different.
No, and I think it's so shitty that like some people discount or like poo poo it a little bit because like they're still lifters. And they still want to be here.
Or raw squats. That's the way I look at it. Like I'm not like
it's just the category you're in.
That's an 8-pound squat, but he did it in reps. It's like it's just a different style of squatting.
I don't discount the number at all.
Different. Like it's to me, it's like a stylistic choice almost. That's the way I look at it.
Totally.
Like,
and it's one of those where like if it's your comfort level as a person and as an athlete, like what you're comfortable.
What are you willing to sacrifice?
What are you willing to sacrifice, or like what side effects are you okay with? Because that's what scares me from it.
How important, and I don't mean it's not important to people who don't do it. Obviously, I don't do that shit. But like, there are people that we know that we're close friends with that this is the most important thing in their whole life. They don't care what's going to happen to them down the road. They don't care if it shaves off time on their life. They don't care about side effects. They don't care about the societal effects that it may have on them. They're this and that. Like, and I don't know. I think that's a choice. I think
there's a time when I was like that too.
Yeah,
you were. I mean, as I was explaining it, I thought of you.
That brings a lot of intensity, though. If you know somebody like that, that brings a huge intensity to the weight room.
Yeah, and it's fun
when people are like, "I don't give a shit. I want this number."
Yeah,
it brings some kind of intensity.
Well, the whole gym benefits from it.
Exactly.
Even if that person is long term not benefiting from it, but but you were like that for a long time.
A long time. Then injuries. I just got older, and I'm gonna say I got smarter. Yeah, because like I was tired of being hurt all the time.
Yeah,
I just can't lift like I used to be. Or I used to, which is fine.
Yeah.
And life changes.
The fact that I can lift and keep doing it is what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about right now.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, and like it all goes in waves. Like I mentioned earlier, starting over at the bar, I've done that with every lift probably 10 times.
Yeah.
Like, and not even being funny. I'm not exaggerating. Like, that's, I really could. And sometimes I couldn't even do the bar. There were certain things I've done to myself that I've had to start with body weight exercises. Or not even do that lift for 3 months. Like,
and to your guys' point about you guys being tested lifters and me being untested, and there's a certain, I think it's almost an insecurity that is shown when tested lifters are poo-pooing on untested lifters.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Way, like when tested lifters are crapping on untested.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
And I think too, a little bit of it is like lack of experience. Like I have been around untested lifters and I've seen how they work. Like any idea that steroids make getting that total and getting those lifts easier is such a joke. Like you still have to work hard. Like you still have to work hard. Your capacity to work is better and you might get more benefits for the work you put in. I don't know the science behind it and I've never taken it, so I don't know the specifics, but it doesn't make you like you still have to, and in fact, I think you're able to work harder. And I think that's really, and like that's something like one of the like you said, like with people who would just take it and then have no care for anything. I was like, I have often felt envious of that. And I think if I had a different job, I probably would have gone down that path, but I have to stay,
I know what you mean.
I have to maintain a certain amount. Like, I don't want to be sweating on my clients. And I think I would just be a very sweaty mess. And I also don't
You're
want to
like
be
doing
like
this
cranky
and
and tired.
sweating.
Yeah. So there's certain things
intimidating
where
all of your clients to the
just
point
like,
where they
"What?"
don't, you don't
I
even do
wanna be
anything, but
like-
you just look so scary. They're like, I don't think I can get my haircut by you anymore.
Yeah. And like, I don't,
I mean, no comment from me.
right. I think if things in my life are a little bit different, I am a little bit envious. I would have loved to. I think it would be cool to push my body to my absolute limit. And I think you get to do that a little bit more so with like when you're taking things, like you get to see what your like real limits are because you're pushing really hard. And I'm often envious of the workload, which is such a weird like kind of way to look at it. But I'm like, you can work so hard and not rhabdo yourself.
Yeah, the idea of someone
you
just
know?
doing like 3-plate like red jumps on bench.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's so
1, 2,
awesome.
3,
Yeah.
maybe 4.
Or
Yeah.
maybe 4 or whatever. But yeah, it's incredible. And like the other thing too is that back to what you guys said earlier is that a lot of times those people that get really judgmental against untested lifters is that I'm gonna say that most of the time they probably haven't trained in a gym with untested lifters.
Yes, correct.
So they don't have the experience
or coached an untested
yeah.
lifter program for an untested lifter, like, and so they're really looking at it from like a very far away viewpoint, which like kind of explains their ignorance behind it.
Yeah.
It also puts up barriers because if they're just training in a box, you know, it's like you got to get outside the box because powerlifting isn't just in this box.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
It's a big sport.
elaborate on that.
It's a big sport. A lot of people do it a lot of different ways. Especially like I think a lot of like with the popularity, it's all been raw. And I think people who are new to the sport. And I think what's really cool is that a bunch of the new wave of powerlifters coming in are former athletes, like college athletes, things like that, that are now just trying to find something to do after. So they're already strong. They're already super like athletic and good. And they're just trying to find a place to
do it,
go with it. I lost my train of thought.
You're
talking
about the athletes like coming in to the sport.
The new athletes coming in, or the new competitors that are coming as athletes.
Oh, so they're coming in and it's like a different, and then they're coming straight into raw, and then they're seeing that part of it and have no idea of like
the historical aspect of it is not there.
No, and I think
I guess you're right.
People
That
also
makes
in the
sense.
same way that they like look down on untested lifting, I think they look down on equipped lifting too, and it is very different than raw lifting. It is arguably
100%.
much harder than raw lifting.
Yeah,
but people
more
see it as
dangerous.
some kind of like cheat or something.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's
seeing
like,
a person
it's not the
almost
same.
black out in a squat suit on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's silly. It's just so silly to be like, God, man,
that's
like,
stupid. That's cheating.
It's such a lazy way of lifting. I'm like,
it's hard, man.
Dude, it seems awful.
Yeah.
It seems like
it's hard and it's painful. It's really, it's a hard thing to do.
I mean, also, why do you give a shit so much? I mean, like, I'll be the first to say, do I get super pissed when I see high squats for equipped lifting online and it's a new world record? For sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be mad.
I think everyone does.
Way more mad about it than I do. But that said, like, I'm not shitting on like geared powerlifting. You know, like I wouldn't say all geared powerlifting sucks. You know, obviously there's things I don't like about it, but it's funny just to be like, oh man, that's so easy, or like you should do raw. You're this.
Too bad it was in a shirt. Like
yeah, like, you know, like you should do. And what's funny about it, not all, but the really good, the really serious like geared powerlifters have really good raw lifts.
Yes.
Like my first powerlifting coach, I think he competed in it was a multiply. I can't remember. I think it was multiply. I can't remember what weight class. It was like 242. But the guy had an 850 or an 875 bench in competition, right?
Damn.
He had a 650 raw bench.
That's crazy.
At 242. And also had part of his forearm blown off when he was in the military in Poland before he moved to the United States. So the guy's benching with like part of his forearm. Like literally like this inside part of his muscle was not there.
That's
Someone
crazy.
just took it out with a spoon and threw it away. So like you know, a lot of those people, I was fortunate enough to be around people like that growing up. I just happened to have 3 people, him being one of them, that did geared powerlifting at the YMCA that I lifted at. It was just dropping the bucket, chance, you know, out of nowhere. And that was what I thought powerlifting was for a long time, was like dudes in suits just doing big lifts. And they didn't have any of the right equipment either. You know, they're just using like pounds and power cages and, you know, like these shitty benches that like are like 10 inches off the ground with no leg drive, you know? And to me, that was like powerlifting. That I got into it, realized what it actually was, looked back on it, and I wasn't like, that's not powerlifting. I was like, that's powerlifting. This is also powerlifting.
Yeah. Like it's the same overarching sport, but very different disciplines within it. And I think that is a cool part of it. Like there's just a lot to explore. And anybody I've seen in a powerlifting, in geared powerlifting, when they're raw, they're stupid strong. You know, like, and I think you have to be able to, like, part of, from what I understand, I don't really have any experience with it, but from what I understand about geared powerlifting, like it's about working with your equipment and knowing how to work it. And that stuff is so, it's like, you can, like, you know, even just getting on a shirt, I can't imagine trying to, like, how hard it is to like just to move in it. It's,
and how awkward
it's hard. You have to be strong. And I think like
it'd be so awkward also to try to lift like that and have your tool is like doing its own job while you're doing the lift, and then your body is doing its own job, and they're 2 separate things that have to function together. Kind of blows my mind, you know? Like I definitely lean on being more kind of like, I don't know, like mind blown by it.
It's like a whole nother like game, because I've used squat, whatever they're grease before. It's a whole different world. It's just like, it hurts.
Kyle,
you have like bruises everywhere.
Kyle kind of messes with it right now. Right? He's been doing some geared lifts in here, right?
He squats and briefs pretty often, and I think pulls sumo and briefs sometimes too. It's I
need to get some shirted benches in here, dude.
I
need to make that.
Just buy one and hang it on the wall and see what happens.
Just have like a societal experiment, like this. Like just put like a thing that says, "This is not art. Like,
this is not art. Take it.
This is for your youth."
Once a month, we can use it in our conjugate programming. You can do it together.
Allie and I have been talking about for years of like wanting to get into equipment, and like the hard part is you need a crew of like 6
you definitely
people.
need a bunch of people and all train at the same time, and you'll be there for much longer than
3-4 hours. Like you know what I'm usually in here for 2-3 hours. You definitely add another hour at least onto that, and it's I think maybe at a different point in my life, but right now, but
Let's
maybe in a couple of years I'll get into it
for ourselves that maybe in the next decade we start doing geared powerlifting.
We start putting shirts
I will.
on, I'm like, I have some raw numbers.
I'm so down.
I just like immediately like,
I'm so down.
Someone get a shirt and we'll get going.
Your whole body flex.
I'm
like, so down.
I'm ready.
Dude, you'd be such a good geared powerlifter.
But I feel like I probably would be, yes, but like
maybe that's your next.
Well, the thing is, like, I need to start implementing in my conjugate training once I'm done rebuilding this deadlift and squat, which is fine. But I want to like implement it into my programming. I think I should buy a bench shirt that we could use here, because I'll start using it in programming for myself and for others.
We could start helping you put it on when you get to work at 6, and then when you lift to 10,
just wear it the whole time.
It'll be really. You would lose.
I love your scarecrow position.
You'd be like this the whole time. Go over there, pick that up. Go over there, pick that up.
Someone sets one hand on the bar, and then they grab your arm and put your other arm on the bar. That's my favorite shit about it. Shit.
And I remember,
ridiculous.
I think like I watched so much geared powerlifting when I first started that I was essentially mimicking what they were doing, which is funny because like it does not cross
It really
over.
hurts your lips.
Yes,
I fucked
really
up my squat
does.
so bad. By the first time I like started watching like West Side VHS and like stuff on the internet, I think I spent the next half a decade trying to squat like that, and then I spent the next half a decade
fixing
this.
Yes, I've done.
It's really fun.
Which I think I'm still actually fixing some of those things. Like,
yes, which is hard. I think that's the funny part about lifting, and I think like. And I'm like, I'm always fucking something up and then fixing it. I don't know. It's just a continual
teeter-totter scale.
What am I working on? What am I fixing? And it's a fun part of it.
One of my favorite things that I've kind of figured out in the last however many years is like caring a lot less about winning or losing.
Yeah.
And I still have
Agree.
what's
I
that?
agree with you 100%.
Yeah, you had a thing like in the last couple of years with that too. And
Yeah.
like, it's funny because I still have a huge ego and I still want to get better and I still want to win all the time. So it's not that I've like let go of that,
Yeah.
but I think there's something to be said for becoming like a seasoned veteran lifter is that you know, you obviously are excited and do well, but when you don't do well, it's not this like
End of the
crazy
world.
drop off a cliff. My whole weekend's ruined.
Yeah.
Like I'll throw my coffee across the room, or
Yeah.
have an argument with the person that I'm lifting with, and then we don't talk to each other for a couple months. That's happened to me, and like I'm so happy that that's over with, and it's been so much more enjoyable to train because now it kind of goes back to what you're talking about, where like you're getting information and you're getting data points in, and you're just figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and
Yeah.
like seeing what elements you need to adjust to do a better job. And I really like that part about it. And it feels a lot less awkward in the gym for yourself and other people when that's gone.
Yeah.
Like even my own athletes that I coach, if they fail a lift, we don't really talk about it too long.
No.
We're not sitting there talking about it for 5 minutes.
No, I
and breaking
change it.
down what went wrong. It's like we just go to the drop set, and then I mention, hey, this is some of the stuff that we're probably going to change on your end and also on my end, and then we get to the next thing. Like I'm so happy to be past that shit.
Yeah, I agree.
And you had like you did that meet. Was that 2 years ago?
It was in 25 and 24.
Yeah, that was like
January.
your meet back where you wanted to do a meet to have fun and do a meet again, and like you called it the ego death.
It wasn't my ego death.
That was your name.
Yeah, because I was like not chasing numbers, and I wanted to
That was
do
inspiring to see.
it. It was
really
like it was it. I think like it really opened my eyes. Like I was just tired of chasing numbers. I was injured all the time, and one day I woke up and I was like, I just want to have fun doing this again. And what that involved for me was letting my ego die and letting the old me that was just pushing my body to its extreme limits.
Yeah.
Just letting that person go and just being like, all right, I can't do that anymore. So now I need to have fun with this.
Yeah.
And I had fun. I went and did a PLU meet in St. Louis, which back to the beginning of this, we're still lifters. You go to a new gym, you go to lift, it's still intimidating.
Yeah.
And there was like 30 people on the platform. It was a small meet. Albert ran it. Me and TJ and John went, and it was great. Like I had such a good experience because, I knew those 3 people there, but also like you just get that experience. I met lifters who I still talk to on Instagram. Like
that's the best.
they were friendly. I was friendly with them. It was just a really nice environment.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was just like a cool, it just was good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it again because I'm not going to be one of those people that are like, I'm retired. Because like, who knows what next year brings?
Yeah. You have no idea what's down the
I'm
road.
probably going to compete again.
I say that to you regularly, don't I? Like,
yeah, you have
there's
no
stuff
idea.
You say to me in the gym, like not like super negative, but day to day.
Oh, when we're training?
Yourself. Yeah, like with training, like or whatever. Like you'll talk about just the small things, little tidbits here and there. Where
Yeah.
like, I'd love to get back to this, or I don't know, down the road.
Yes, and you're always like, you can do it.
And I say you can do it, or I'm like, you just don't know, or I said like you'll be really surprised in a year or two, because like that's the one thing I've realized about life is that like when you look back on the last 2 years or the last 4 years, you never saw any of that stuff that's coming, good or bad.
No,
and whether there was some bad stuff or not, a lot of times you do look back and you're like, man, that thing was pretty amazing. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought I'd never be, and so I always kind of leave that to be open. Whatever's down the road.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. With that, I would say like a similar thought that, or I don't know, just to hit on that and go back to like state chair shit.
That was a crazy tangent, wasn't it?
Well, I just really, it just reminds me of that point because I definitely deal with a lot of imposter syndrome and I don't know. In my head, I'm very much just like the little weirdo running around, and I don't really always see my impact on things. I just see I see things that need to be done, and I do them, and I move on with myself and move on with my day.
Mm-hmm.
But when like state chair applications are going in, I had a few friends of mine like encourage me to apply and to like go through with it, and I can't say that I would have if I hadn't had some like
back up.
friends encouraging me and people telling me that they thought I would A, be good at it, and B, that I was even capable. I was super nervous. It's one of those things where I was like, well, if I do really bad, I'll just quit and like it'll be fine. But it's one of those things where I went into it and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like they think I can, so we'll roll with it for a few months, but I might very much not. And now to that point, I'm like, it's been almost 3 years. And like you never know what it's gonna be, and you just got to keep showing up.
Well, look at it now. I think a lot of people, pretty much everyone that I know, is really happy that you're doing it. You know?
Yeah.
So
I'm very happy you're doing it.
Sick that you were just,
and I love working with you.
You know?
Yeah. But so it's back to it. We're like when you're you can't close yourself. Like don't shut the door yourself, you know, or don't count yourself out. Don't like you just never know what's gonna.
I agree. And I think like as we were talking about like keeping your goals like kind of open ended, you know, like I was curious, and Matt was curious earlier. He mentioned it to me that it would be good to ask you like what are some of your long term goals for lifting for yourself? Like
for myself,
yeah. Like whether it's on the platform or whether it's in the gym or just like in general, could be anything. It could be SS bar squats.
Our secret meet we're doing with the Cambridge bar bench press and
we have to talk to you. We have a fun non federation meet that we want to do
with just weird bars.
That would be fun.
That would be really fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be fun. A Cambridge bar bench.
I bet all the people that signed up are people that come to Rockwell.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of psychopaths.
Just Rockwell people.
It's just 20 people from Rockwell.
I mean, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
You can do geared or not in the same flight.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that would be horrible. Those are horrible when that happens.
Do like a 20-minute bench on one, and then a 30
everyone's cold from one person's bench.
Yeah.
You know,
injury
I've
rate
actually
skyrockets.
worked a meet that happened. There were 3 clips.
It made me
benchers.
think back.
Yeah.
I was not there at that meet, but I know.
Wait, I think
45 minutes.
I think I was there. I was there.
Ooh, still
because I made a really
one of the
funny
worst
joke
meets I've ever worked.
that Andrew will not let me forget.
You can't say it.
I can't say it. It's not nice.
And it just made me think. I was like, if you don't like this shit, you're not made for powerlifting. If you don't like taking hour breaks between your attempts, then you're not.
Yeah. And that's what like you gotta run with it. But
yeah, your goals like long term, short term, whatever. Like for
like where are you right now with your lifting?
Right now, so I will be competing later this summer. Still figuring out the date for sure. My goal for the next couple of years is to compete at least once a year. Numbers wise, I would like to squat 360, bench over 200, and deadlifts as close as I can to 400. Within the next like couple years, that's the goal. I really, really want a 200 bench, over 200. Like it's like back to open ended. I'm like, I don't want to say I want like a 205 bench. Like I want 200 plus. Whatever I'm gonna get within there is what I'm, and even more, you know, later in life. But and then eventually my like overall long term goal is 1,000 pound total, raw. Which I'm at like 8 something now, and I have probably years to go before I get there, and that's the hard part.
You're hitting your prime years of powerlifting, your mid 30s.
Yeah, so I think
you're 31.
I'm 31.
You're in the good years now.
Yeah, so I'm hitting my stride, and I think I'm also getting. I'm so much smarter than I used to be, and not to say that I'm an expert by any means. I also like I'm not a coach. Everything I know is just purely by experience. I read a ton. I listen to a lot of like I'm always absorbing, and I love this stuff, so I'm always trying.
But there's a lot to be said about that as well. Like just learning through experience. You know, you have so much experience. Like I would trust what you would say.
Yeah,
I hear you saying like,
I just do that, or I just do this, and that's like, I mean, there are coaches that don't do that.
Yeah,
you know, you know,
there's tons.
There are people that charge money for that,
and you know that have high aspirations for their lifting that are unwilling to do that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's this link. Just check it out. 3 months later, did you look at the link? No. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it. Like if you like, and I think it's a hard conversation lifters need to have themselves of if you're benching, like, especially for example, a conversation I had with myself years ago was, okay, you're benching 135. You want to bench 200. But at the time I was not putting in what was necessary to bench. And it was one of those things where like, I'm going to be benching 135 for the next 5 years if I don't get my shit together and you know, figure these things out and bench has always been really hard for me, and I think that's why I love it as much as I do, is because I've worked so hard on it, and
It's a
it
good way to
does
look at
not
it,
come
set a run
naturally
from
to
it,
me at all. I have really long arms. My range of motion is like stupid long, so I'm not set up for bench. So
Just gotta
I
put a
have
football under your back and then you
it would be
you'd be alright. You can get
helpful.
that 200 for sure.
Yeah, but I think like all
It's
of that,
funny.
it's I don't know. I love it, and I want to
Yeah.
do it well. I also, have a reputation as a ref. And I know that I've given some unpopular calls
That's what's up, though.
from time to time, and I think I have a strict I don't say strict. I have the
You
standard
just have a
according to
standard,
the
which
rule
is
book.
fine. Yes.
You
And
mean you're there to actually judge people
and
and
I
not,
tried my best to stay
do
within that.
favors for people that feel
Yeah,
like they need favors given.
right. I try not to
That's
give
great.
too much,
That's great.
but especially the higher level lifters, I especially
Yeah.
am very careful that because like that everybody's looking at that.
Yeah.
So if the standard is set at that, and somebody sees that John Hack can squat high,
Yep.
then they're gonna squat high.
Yeah, it's a hard job to have because you have a lifter or a lift that possibly could progress the sport, right?
Yeah,
But then on the other side of it, you have like, am I judging this correctly
yeah,
so that our sport doesn't look like a joke?
yeah,
And this is a respected lift if it is going to be like a sport changing lift. It's a
yeah,
hard job to have, because and I think a lot of people err on just being afraid of making
yeah,
the wrong call, and that's not good for us either. So
yeah,
it's good to stick to your guns and just be like, hey man, I'm going to judge you the same way I would judge a person who's their first, second meet or
yeah.
state meet or whatever.
And I look at it from the perspective too of like if I got a gift, I would be pissed. If somebody,
Yeah, it sucks to walk away from that. And,
yeah,
you feel like you did something really great, and then looking back at it, you're like, man, that's not really it. And
yeah.
now I feel like I should celebrate, but I can't. It's just awkward.
Yeah. And I think like that's something that I have to keep in mind a little bit too with my own lifts. And I've not always been I've not always been a good lifter. And I've not always been a technically good lifter.
Yeah.
And I want to be a technically good lifter.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to be a really good lifter. I want to move really well. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to just be strong. Like I want to
Yeah.
move things well. I want to do things efficiently and keep my body
Yeah.
healthy. And the other thing I think about too is like if I go up on the platform and I'm squatting high,
Yeah.
how is that gonna look?
Yeah, exactly.
If I go up on the platform and my butt's off the bench, how does that look?
Yeah.
If my deadlifts are squat or soft, how does that look? So I think about that perspective
Yeah.
too of like not only do I hold myself to that standard
Yes,
because
for
it's the
sure.
standard I want for
Yeah.
myself.
That's important for people to see. It's like,
Yeah.
like the way I do things when I lift, I want the people that I coach that I'm trying to instill good habits in them to see that, and see me doing those actual things that we're
Yeah.
talking about all the time versus being like, you need to do this. I'm going to squat 4 inches high, but you have to go lower. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
not, you don't have a PR.
Yeah.
It's just weird, and
And the
Double
same with like
standards.
other
Yeah.
refs
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't think refs do that, and I don't know of any refs that do. But like I think it's just good to lead by example. And like
Yeah, I agree.
I also I'm really if some my total's not huge by any means, but like I'm proud of my total and I stand by that.
Good.
Yeah.
And the lifts that I have, like the 3 lifts that make up it, I'm like I have the videos and I stand by those.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I stand by
Yeah.
those
It
lifts.
feels good to be able to say that,
Yeah.
right? You have proof and people believe that you can
And it's
do that, and
undeniable.
yeah,
It's like it's one of those things where like that is 2 standards. Like
Yeah.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So
Yeah, and you kind of know when a certain person has that behind them, you can actually tell they're legitimate and credible. If they tell you they've done a lift, you don't
Yeah.
really have to look into it. They actually did that because they've been through so much or they've been a part of this for so long. There's no
yeah,
ifs, ands, or buts about it. Matt, what are some of your
yeah.
future goals for
Me?
lifting, or now you also do jiu-jitsu as well? So
I think I'm in a midpoint where I like doing them both, and I want to be a student as much as possible in jiu-jitsu. What I'm noticing is I'm getting frustrated, and it's harder for me to let go of the frustration than it is with lifting. And I think I have to learn how to do that better.
yeah,
Because when you first start lifting, you get very frustrated. Like you said earlier, if you don't hit a lift, and
Yeah.
you just it ruins your day.
yeah,
And I had a few experiences the last few weeks with jiu-jitsu with that because my body just doesn't move certain ways. And
Yeah.
it bothers me because, I want my body to do one thing.
Yeah.
And it won't do it.
yeah.
And that's just something I have to accept.
Yeah, it's hard when you're new at something to figure out an alternative method to the thing that you're trying to learn because
Yeah.
you've never done it before, but there will be a point where you'll figure out a
Right.
lot of ways around all that stuff, and Like
I'm still
it'll actually
learning.
make you probably really good later because you'll have to figure out those things early on
Yeah.
versus like some people just can like plow through things and just like use their God-given talent to do stuff
Yeah.
and then go back, and then you have to actually become technical or you have to become educated,
Right.
you know? So like the obstacle or the hindrance will probably actually be a big assistance to you like long term, I would imagine.
Yeah. I think that like I'm still in the beginning stage of it where it's like it's a lot of it's black and white to me.
Mhm.
And I have to remember that nothing is black and white in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because there's always an alternative method to everything.
Yeah.
You know, and like it goes the same thing. Like for the longest time with squat, bench, and deadlift, you know, it's very black and white, sagittal plane lifting.
Yeah.
You know, so like, but it's not. It's there's a lot of gray areas with it
Yeah.
because everyone's different. Everyone moves different. Everyone has certain things.
Yeah.
Anyway, to answer your question, my goals are balancing my life now with both of them.
Mhm.
And I'm liking the way I am.
Yeah.
I'm getting into the jiu-jitsu more and more. My lifting's getting better, like you said it would.
Yeah.
I'm just more focused.
Mhm.
You know, like yesterday, I finished my dynamic effort workout in like 46 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I just literally just drilled through it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. I finished it in 46 minutes. And then my other lifts this week were really good.
Yeah.
And I think it's like maybe because I went to jiu-jitsu more.
Yeah. I made Matt go 3 times this week.
So, I
He
mean,
kind of told me the previous week, he was like, if you bully me next week, I'll probably go 3 days a
It's
week.
like,
And I was
wow.
like, dude, you're so awesome. Like no
that
one,
works for
no
me.
one would say that.
Yeah.
But it works for me.
Yeah.
You know, I know it works for me. So,
And then like, I think on Wednesday, I was like, you're going tonight, right? He's like, I have to lift today. And I was like, so? And he was like, okay, fine. And then he smiled as he walked away.
yeah, and I did it.
Good.
Yeah, it was good. It's good for me to have
Yeah.
freedom. See, this is like important to have people like this around you.
Yeah.
And have, like people in our gym and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's
You need
important for us
pushers.
to like push each other a little bit here and
Yeah.
there. It really helps.
No, I agree. And I
Did I
was,
answer your question right?
no, yeah, totally. I
Yeah,
was actually
just
just thinking
balance
about
is
like
the
my
thing.
relationship with Ed, you know, and as far as like being frustrated goes, you know, Ed's one of my best friends in the whole world, you know,
Yes.
like him and I run BP together, but like there are so many days and nights that I don't want to hear him talk anymore. You know, like I don't want to hear his comment about how I'm jiu-jitsu. I don't want to hear his voice,
Yeah.
his demeanor, the way he looks at me, you know, and it's nothing to do with Ed. Like Ed is
Yeah.
great, he's an angel, you know, but like he wants me to get better and he is going to make me better.
He's doing it.
And
I see it.
he even told me last week, I can't remember what he said to me. And I didn't even say anything that made him say this. We were just like getting ready to leave. And he was like, dude, he's like, there's no way out for you. There's no going back. Like you just have to keep going forward and get better at this. And he's like, you don't have any choice in the matter anymore. Something like roughly like that.
Yeah.
But it was like a positive thing, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe he just saw that I was frustrated a couple times over the last month or whatever, you know? And as he was saying that, I was like I would actually ever quit.
Right.
You know, so I was like, just like laughing about that, first
Yeah.
of all. But like, you know, it's hard, you know, and like it is understandable. And like Ed said the other night, like you're frustrated because you care about it.
Yeah.
And if you didn't care about it, you wouldn't probably come back and you wouldn't give a shit either way. I've seen a lot of people on the mat where they get direction from people and they're just like literally staring out the window or looking at the wall, you know,
Yeah.
versus talking. Or when instruction's happening, they're looking like the other direction, you know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you're not going to get that collar choke because it's really complex if you're looking at the mat. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's cool for you to be like a little pissed and
Yeah.
have a little bit of an ego about it because it'll kind
It's just interesting to me because it's like
it
I
doesn't
had
make any
this like
sense.
well, I had this like ego death with my powerlifting, you know, and I'm like, oh, now just getting through the day to day of having a good workout is great.
Yeah.
And then I go to jiu-jitsu where I'm really wet behind the ears and know nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? Oh, I still have this in me.
Yeah.
And I do. And I'm 45 years old and I'm like, oh, I still have this like mentality,
Yeah.
which is cool.
It's good,
you
man.
know?
It's a good thing. Like, I've had probably in the last 6 months times where I let go of my ego too much and I've rolled with people and looking back on it, I like allowed myself to just get totally annihilated because I was like, oh, I want to work on some new stuff. And then I actually just like laid my sword down on the mat before we even started training together, you know? And
Yeah.
like, I was like, all right, well, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm still going to try to learn new things and practice new things that I'm bad at, but I'm also going to like get a little aggro and put some of my intensity into it. and it's nice to be reminded that you have that in there,
Yeah.
and so it's good to kind of go back and forth. And the one thing I wanted to talk to you about too, Taylor, was like your time here at the gym, because you've been a member at Rockwell for a really long time. And it's kind of funny, just like with the state chair thing. Um, and you said something earlier, you're like, yeah, I'm just like this little like crazy person to run around or something like that. But like, you know, you don't make a lot of noise at the gym, you never really have. And that's a good thing. Like those are my favorite people in the whole world, because they just allow us to come in and lift and get better and just like focus on what we're supposed to do. But it's kind of funny because like, I don't know how long you've been here, but it's been over 5 years, right? It's been like 7 or 8.
Like 7 or 8, I think.
It's been a while.
2017.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a long time.
9.
So like
9 years. That's crazy.
Yeah. So
Man, it's true.
but yeah, you put your time in, and
Yeah.
like, you're generally quiet and you focus on your lifting and you're there for people and you're friendly with people, but you're more here about the actual thing that we do. And because of that, I was just curious, like, how have you seen the gym change? Like, what lessons has it taught you? How has it changed you, positively or negatively? This is not like a marketing ad for like the gym, but
Yeah.
like, what has the gym done to you from when you first were here, fast forward to like now, and like how, like what have you
man.
learned from being here?
Man, I'm like, how has it been 9? I'm mind blown over the time
Yeah.
that has gone
I
by.
always
crazy.
underestimate the time, like 5, and it's almost 10 years, but yeah.
I think it has changed so much since I've started, and I was thinking about it last night, just kind of like preparing for today, and like I was thinking back to how small it used to be, and just that's all it was before, and it like now, even just like being in here, I'm like, it blows my mind that we were all just in that space, and we
Yeah.
had 3 deadlift platforms,
Yeah.
3 squat racks,
3 squat,
2 benches.
2 like we had so little, but it was like, I think something that I appreciate and have always appreciated about it is that, I've always felt like an oddball. I've always been a little bit of a black sheep. I've never really fit quite anywhere. And I think something that I've always appreciated is whether or not I felt, I'm so shy. I'm extremely shy.
Mhm.
And socially, I have so much social anxiety. It's insane. And especially when I first started, I was so scared and so nervous. And I was just like, I care about lifting a lot. I'm just going to show up and lift by myself. And what I appreciated about it was that I had this space allowed me to just come in and do that.
Mhm.
And there wasn't like, I wasn't treated weird. I wasn't like, at least to my knowledge, I wasn't like, who's she? Like, it was just like, I was just like in the
Here.
corner by myself
Yeah.
doing my
Yeah.
thing. And I was quiet. I didn't really talk to anybody for years. Like
Yeah.
it took a while to kind of like warm up and open up a little bit more. I think
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have no idea who I am when I'm at the gym.
That's the funny part about it. Is
Yeah,
that
and
you've been here for
especially,
so long, and there's still an element of that where you're like a
yeah.
little unknown, which is
It's just
it's kind of ironic,
funny.
you know?
Yeah, like within the last years, this a new. I won't go into too much detail, but a new lifter tried to offer some advice on some of the equipment, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, thank you,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be like a dick about it, but I'm like,
Yeah, for
brother,
sure.
Brother, if you knew.
Anytime that happens to me, I just have this like reverse montage in my head of all this shit that I've been through since like the first day I've lifted, when someone's doing that to me. And then I have to come back to like reality and be like, thank you so much. I'm gonna apply that now. And then I'll forget
It's
about
like,
it.
thank you.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up for that. And it was one of those like it was like, I think I was like adjusting like the rack height on the combo rack or something, and I was like, bro,
Yeah.
I do this so much, I don't even know how to tell you. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
but I think it's changed a lot, and I think something that I appreciate about it a lot is that it has stayed, and it's been a lesson for me. I think, especially, I come from a long line of working class people. I'm a very proud working class girl,
Yep.
and there is definitely that vibe here, and I appreciate it. I like that part of the sport. I like the grit.
Yeah.
I like I like the brick, I like the chains, I like the rust. I like
Yeah.
things a little bit prettier, and
Yep.
I think there is like a balance of, I work in the beauty industry. I am also very feminine and very girly, so I'm like but
Yeah.
it's a good balance of like, I have all of that. I can come in, I have on my lip gloss. I can come in and do that. But then I have like that grit and that like dirty, not dirty, but like that. I don't know. That, like I really appreciate having that because it's something that like I need. I have learned that I need that balance in my life. I can't have everything all one way or the other. But I think too, just being another thing that I've appreciated too, and like what I really like and respect about it is that it has changed significantly, but the core things have stayed the same.
Yeah.
Like anybody who walked into Rockwell 10 years ago could walk in today and say that's Rockwell.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's something that I appreciate, and it hasn't changed in such a way that it's unrecognizable or that it's lost the spirit of it. It's still here.
Yeah.
And I think as old members come back in from traveling out of town, like it's still. It's bigger, it's different, but it has shown me that you can expand and you can grow and you can grow exponentially, but you can keep your core identity, whether you're a business or a person or a community. And I think that is encouraging for me because, that's something I'm like, I don't want to lose those parts of myself. As I grow and I get better at things and I age and I make more money and, things in my life change, I still want to be myself.
Yeah.
And I think part of being here I've always been able to just be, but I have not had pressure to perform or be a certain way. And I appreciate that, especially like as a quiet weirdo, I appreciate that I haven't gotten like, weirdness about just coming in and being by myself. I have not, I can just come in and do that. And then I can also, when it's hot in the summer, I can, as a woman, I could come in comfortably if I'm sweating and I don't want to have the layers of clothing on. I can be in shorts and a sports bra and feel comfortable. I've never felt weird about it. And it's all, I remember years ago, before I had a car, I Ubered here after work one day and the Uber driver was super weird. And I don't even remember who I was meeting up with a friend here and it was like kind of late and maybe like 6 or 7 at night. And I was texting, this guy's super weird. Like, can you like make sure that like get the door unlocked? Like I just feel uncomfortable. And it was funny because like the word spread a little bit. And then by the time I got here, there were a bunch of guys that like, I don't even know at the time. It was so long ago at the time. I don't even know these guys. We've never even talked before, but they were like ready to be there for me. And like, it was one of those things where like, I don't know. I think it's just part of being here. And it's like one of those things where like, we're going to protect.
It's nice to know that you have that,
Yeah. And it's one of those things where at the time too, I was like, no one knows who I am. No one cares about me. But then I get there and like these guys who probably don't even know my name are like, no, like we'll make sure you get in the door safely. And I think that's another cool part of it too. It's always been a place that I felt comfortable and safe. And
that's good.
Then that allows me to feel comfortable to push. And like, while I am quiet, I'm like, I am, especially like in meet prep and stuff, I can be an intense lifter. And I've also never felt weird about that, which is cool. I'm like, I can have, I'm also not like throwing belts and smacking my face or screaming or anything like that. But
it'd be cool if you did.
I can, maybe I'll start acting out.
I threw my belt
crazy.
like 2 weeks ago.
Did you?
After benching, I was pissed.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes
I was like, why
get
did
a
I
little
do
toss, that? But I don't like whip it.
No, I like whipped it, and I was like,
so weird about it.
I was like, why did I just do that?
My belt can't touch the ground.
Oh, like some people don't put backpacks on the ground.
I don't put my purse on the ground.
Or really? Purses are bad.
Yeah, Katie doesn't like that because of bugs.
Well, bugs,
She'll yell at me anytime my shit's on the ground.
Yeah, no, bugs, like, absolutely. Bugs, and then also it's just bad luck.
I didn't know.
Really? Just to put your
for women, like your purse or your like, so whatever's holding like your wallet and stuff, you don't put on the ground.
Man, when I was younger, I used to like sleep on airport floors and like I actually slept in a hotel lobby entrance one night.
Like in the chair?
No, like where you walk in and like
in between the doors?
Yeah.
That's
like,
crazy.
There was a back part of the hotel where there was like there was a back entrance for like the people who were staying there, And my friend and I just couldn't afford a hotel. This is like when I was like 20 years old. But my friend and I couldn't afford a hotel. And we just slept on the stairs inside the door where the people at the hotel go in.
Yeah,
and then we got kicked out like an hour and a half in because a security guard found us. We went to another hotel, did it again. And we got kicked out at a second one. So we slept in like an hour and a half intervals all night to like 5 different hotels.
That's crazy.
But he had to go to New York.
Each other like, you guys get these guys?
Yeah.
You see these 2 kids yet?
I was so tired, man. And he had to go there to get his visa fixed because he was from Ukraine. And for some reason, he thought I could go. Like, he was like, you could go with me. I don't speak very good English. Like, I don't know how he thought I was going to translate for him, but I went, and that guy was actually really incredible. He was like a kickboxing champion from Kiev, and he was like, do you want me to teach you how to kickbox? I was like, sure. So I showed up at my MCA. We went up to like the upstairs where people stretch. And I thought he was going to show me like a bunch of technique and like, show me some like beginner steps. He's like, all right, we're going to stand here and we're both going to round kick each other in the leg until one person falls. That was my first day kickboxing. And my leg was,
it's very Eastern European.
Bro, my leg was black for like 3 weeks. I couldn't kickbox.
I was going to say, like, were you able to like bend your knees?
No, I couldn't do lower body for a bit. But well, I guess we'll save the conspiracy theories for next time.
Yeah.
We had a 9 o'clock shut off, and
we're over.
But yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
All right, thank you, Taylor.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, it's great.